We've been sitting here. This is now the official. We are on the podcast now, just so you know. But I sat here with this fucking laptop and this microphone trying to figure out what the fucking settings were supposed to be. Because we're in kind of a big echoey room. It's like, obviously the audio quality is not the best. But
we're just setting up shop
it
right
was
now.
fucking loud. I kept turning down settings. Like, I'd pull it from fucking like all the way volume all the way to half, and it was still loud. And so I pulled it even more, and it was still loud. And I just couldn't figure it out. Fucking technology. Can't just be easy ever. Fine.
It'll never be easy, honestly. It's only going to get more advanced, and from here we're just going to have to keep on learning new shit.
Like, yeah. Why don't we just fucking use our phones? I'll just hold my phone up to my face instead of using a fucking actual nice microphone.
Voice to text. Have
honestly,
Siri repeat the podcast for us.
Yeah, there you go. You're just going to get that. There's whole YouTube channels now that are just narrated by like the voice to text thing that I've seen, but they're like Reddit. They're like weird Reddit things.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's not that bad anymore.
People do it when I can't remember the guy that did the video, but when it's like, pregante. Pregnant.
Yeah, like on the Yahoo answer kind of thing.
Yeah, like hearing fucking Siri read those would be so funny. Oh my god, this is gonna be a shit show.
Well, welcome to episode 2. It only took fucking 4 months in between.
Oh my god,
we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this every week. 4 months later, here's number 2.
It's literally because I'm a piece of shit.
I mean, I moved to a different state for a little while, and we were like, we're gonna do it over the states. We're gonna fucking get on Discord and fucking figure this shit out. No, that didn't happen.
It's because every time it came to setting up the microphone, my fucking ass was like,
I don't know how to do that shit.
You're like, just watch a YouTube video on it. And I'm like, I don't watch YouTube.
I'm not gonna fucking YouTube. I'd rather fucking play fucking Call of Duty.
I would rather have somebody show me how to do it in person.
Which we can do now because I'm actually back in the same city.
So that when we are in different cities, it won't be any problem because everything will already be set up. The issue is the initial setup. Like, that's once it's there, golden.
But now we're back. We're back. Episode 2. Of this podcast. I think we got 17 views on the last one, and like 3 of them were me. So that's...
And like 3 of them, one of them was me. So there's a solid 13.
To the other people that probably listened to the first 5 seconds, hello. Hopefully you're still here by this point.
One can only hope. It did take us 4 months.
Yeah. So we have some topics we wanted to do. It's obviously the goal of the podcast is to talk about things from our point of view of like person born from 1998-ish, the kind of like 20-ish year old. We're not millennials though.
No,
I want to have a name for us, but
it's pretty much Generation Fucked, dude. We talked about this.
Generation Fucked. I totally forgot about that, and it's on my own fucking podcast.
It fucking is. It's just things in our perspective, things that we deal with, like government, politics, religion. Anything that would affect us in our day-to-day and also affect other people around our age. Yeah. It's kind of just what is going to be discussed. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, too, this is the beginning of the podcast, so everything is kind of iffy where we're kind of planting our feet right now and what we really want to dig into. But something that we're going to talk about in this episode is going to be the struggles that we face in this age and ways to get through them, because... We were talking earlier today, and I was saying, when you listen to a podcast that's inspirational, self-help, life-motivating, it tends to be from somebody who's much older than we are. They've already gone through the trials. They've reached their success. They're
already successful, and it's good to hear, like, the point of view of somebody who's reached that success because they obviously use their own tools and have a way to get to that success, but they don't really understand the things that we're going through in this day and age. Because when they're 40 and they were successful back when the fucking internet didn't even exist, obviously what they're going to do to get successful and like deal with stress isn't going to be the same as what we're doing.
There was something that I was reading the other day that talks about...
Cite them, sources.
Exactly. So, it's in this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've been reading this for the last couple days now, and one of the things that he talks about in trying to create better habits and trying to do things to improve your life are single-use zones in your house or something like that. In the kitchen, that's where you eat. You don't eat outside of the kitchen.
Oh, okay,
When you go to sleep, doctors have told people with insomnia, or psychiatrists, therapists, I don't know.
Somebody smarter than us.
Exactly, somebody smarter than me. One of the methods that they use to help people with insomnia is you go into your room and you go to sleep. You don't sit on your phone. You don't read books. You don't watch movies. You don't watch TV. You go in and you go to
Why do you
sleep.
gotta be calling me out like this, dude?
Dude.
Why you calling? Literally, I live in my room. Everything I own is in one single room.
Yeah, see, and that's where things become difficult, is because they talk about these single-use spaces. So when you go into your room, you associate your room with sleep. That's what happens there. Obviously, if you live in smaller housing, you know,
I'll just face the wall.
American.
I'll just face the wall. And not
Yeah,
look at
exactly,
anything.
exactly. But you associate these spaces, and now this person with insomnia can go to bed, and it's much easier for them to fall asleep because they're not trying to constantly run their mind with different tasks and different things to be doing.
Okay,
They're going to sleep. So something that somebody who's, 40 years older than us now, or, even 30... I don't know. I was trying to list different numbers. My train of thought really.
Yeah, there's like 30-year-olds and like 40-year-olds and like some people that are older.
People that are 40 years older than us. That's gonna put them at 60. I just can't do math. So people that are like 30 years older than us, 20 to 30 years older than us, when they were going through their success and when they were building the processes to their success, they didn't have things like phones in their pockets 24/7.
Yeah.
And the fact is that we in our day and age tend to use our phones to reduce stress. We look through social media, we browse the content that we enjoy, and that is something that is around us all the time. So I feel like because of technology and because of things like social media, I feel like people have a whole other set of challenges that they have to get through before that they can reach their success. Because when I read books on my phone.
Yeah.
But you know what else is on my phone? Instagram, Snapchat.
And it's so
Twitter.
easy just to go like, oh yeah, get a notification somebody posted and you're like, oh wait, I need to go check that out.
Yeah, and you go check it out and then you're sucked in for like 20 minutes at least.
And what's ironic is when I go and I like watch the news or something, or I hear somebody older than me talking and they're like, young people are on their phones too much, like I want to punch them in the fucking face. I want to fucking kill them because they're right in a way, but they also don't understand like the lifestyle that we have. So yes, like we need to like be using our phones less, and we need to be interacting, not just interacting more with other people outside of the phone, but doing other things with our phones that are more productive. It's not that we're counterproductive because we're on our phones. We're just using them for the wrong reasons. So when they're like, it's like telling somebody to stop watching TV because they're not I don't know. They're not like doing something.
It's somebody who sits down and watches Family Guy every single night versus somebody who sits down and watches the news, watches weather updates, watches things that are actually providing information.
It's your state of mind, not the thing that you're using.
Exactly. But at the same time with that, it is so much harder to get into better habits that revolve around these objects, Somebody wants to watch the news, but they see the Family Guy's on and they're like, I'm just gonna flip that channel down. I'll watch an episode, next thing you know, you're 7 episodes in, it's fucking 1 o'clock in the morning, and you are now going to bed later than you planned.
Exactly. So yeah, I liked the idea of like having single use rooms, and like it never even occurred to me that was like a reason to have, but like at our age, it's hard to do that, especially
it's almost impossible.
Yeah, I live in a house where the individual rooms in the house, this is a whole other topic of ridiculousness and on housing and stuff. But I live in a house where they rent out the rooms for $450 each. I'm living in a room in a house for $450, and I share with a bunch of strangers.
It's fucking wild.
And we share like a kitchen, and I share a bathroom with a 70-year-old guy that has a room next to me that I never talk to. And the fact that this house, which probably the person either paid up for, like this company paid for this house up front, or their mortgage payments are probably like $1,000-ish a month. They're making $450 off of this, $450 at least a month, because I have the cheapest room, off of the 7 people that live there. So they're making
made their money back.
They're making $35, maybe $4,000 a month off of us, when they're paying maybe $1,000 for the mortgage on this house if they haven't just bought it already.
Yeah.
Plus, there's another 2-bedroom attached to the house, which of course probably just goes with the same mortgage, and they're making $1,300 off of them every month.
It's ridiculous. The housing.
And people wonder why we can't fucking afford fucking places to live, because
people always say, "Oh, move out of your parents' house," and it's like, I move out of my parents' house and I fucking starve.
Yeah,
like,
the only option I have is to move into a single room where I pay
with
$450. There's no fucking internet. I've been arguing with the landlord because I can't do my fucking homework because there's no internet, and he doesn't see it as an issue. I don't have anywhere to go. I have to go back to my parents' house to do my homework because they won't fix the internet in the place I live.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's a necessity. It's not. It's like water and air. Like, not air, but like you pay for water, obviously it's a utility.
Well, it is a utility because, again, that's another thing if you think about it. People from, older times, they didn't necessarily have... Internet was such a luxury to them, And so if you didn't have it, you just didn't have it.
Yeah.
And so...
Didn't matter.
Exactly. But when it comes to now, like, everybody has to have internet for everything, You want to hop online and do homework, you have to hop online and do homework. If you need to watch lectures online, you need to watch lectures online, And it's just one of those things that... It's a utility now. It's not just some, like, oh, I have internet? Like, everybody fucking has internet because everybody uses it and everybody needs it.
And again with this, the water pipe in the sink broke and water was just going straight onto the floor. Water is important. I couldn't use the sink to get, like, water. And that's what we drink out of, too. We have, like, Brita filters. Uh-huh. And so the next day, somebody came up to fix that pipe. But the internet hasn't been working for fucking 2 weeks. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he doesn't think it's a necessity. I work, my school is digital media design. Everything I do for school is online. Yeah. I don't have a single textbook. I don't have anything. It's all online.
And if you can't fucking access it, you can't do your shit.
So I'm paying for internet that just doesn't work, and nobody cares, but it's fine.
I would be so pissed if I was paying for the internet that doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Growing up is whack as shit right now.
But something that like has helped me more than I thought it would, and like you said, you texted me earlier and you said the mainstream media doesn't talk about reading books, and yes, they push the point that kids need to read more a lot, but when you get into the age of like 20 and stuff, nobody's making you read books.
Yeah, and nobody talks about having you read books either. You're not if you think about, typically you surround yourself with just friends, and odds are your friends probably don't read. Yeah. And
if they do, it's not something people just kind of bring up in conversation, like, oh, well, guess what I'm reading right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not something that people really talk about because it's not promoted through media,
or socially, honestly.
Yeah, it really isn't, because it's not like you go over to somebody's house and we spend more time building our social networks than we do a lot of times focusing on ourselves and growing our own knowledge so that we can advance through social networks. Because the fact is that knowledge is power. Reading is power. With this job that I'm going to be starting soon, they have encouraged me to read more than I have read in the last, 4 or 5 years of my life. Yeah. I'm reading 3 books right now at a time.
Holy shit.
It's fucking ridiculous. I'm listening to one, which is an audiobook, and it's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Yeah. Atomic Habits by James Clear, and then the other one is called Happiness Advantage, and that one is by, let's see.
While she's looking that up, I just have to say that I don't know whether it's because of technology. Did you get it?
Yeah, it's Sean Acker is what Happiness Advantage is by.
Okay. I don't know if it's because of how technology has affected me growing up or if it's just my type of learning. I cannot sit down and read books anymore. I can't, because as soon as I sit down to read a book, my phone's there, my computer's there. There's something else in my mind that I'd rather be doing, even though that I want to read that book, because it takes effort to kind of look through that book and do it. Oh yeah. As stupid as lazy as that sounds, I just get distracted too easily to sit down and read. But audiobooks, when I'm working or when I'm doing laundry, it has changed how I think about certain things. I just got done listening to Every Tool's a Hammer by Adam Savage, a guy from Mythbusters. Really good book if you're a creative person, or if you're a maker is the term he used, that needs motivation, or needs he has very specific knowledge on types of glues and all this weird stuff that's really interesting. Even though I don't make, I'm inspired to work on the things that I do just because of how he explained things. But it was just a random book that got suggested to me, and I was and it changed everything. Just reading that one book, it changed exactly how I think about certain things, and it changed the way that I'm motivated to do certain things. So these books really can change you.
Well, and the other thing is too is that a lot of people think about the concept of sitting down and reading a book in the same way that it takes energy to sit down and to just read through a book. A lot of times, again, because it's not promoted in our culture necessarily to sit down and read. You always see little posts about oh, take time for yourself, sit down, curl up and read a book, The fact is too, and this is something that I learned personally about myself, I don't know if this is the same thing for everybody, but when you're younger, the books that you tend to read tend to be fictional. They tend to be, these crazy wild ideas,
outlandish
to put you,
worlds, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, to put you in this different life and to really learn how to vividly imagine things with your own mind.
Oh, maybe because life sucks shit and you're in elementary school and everybody's fucking rude, but that's another topic.
Everybody's fucking bully. But no, these outlandish stories, these crazy scenes, all these insane characters and stuff, as you get older, at least for me personally, I just wasn't finding interest in those anymore because, I mean, I'm sure every person has noticed as they start to grow old, their imagination tends to dwindle, you know? You don't go outside and play, you know, imaginary castle with your siblings anymore. Yeah. Like, it's just not part...
I mean, wait, you don't play imaginary castle with the kids on the block? What the fuck?
Maybe with, like, a Dungeons & Dragons setting, but, like, you know, that's the closest I'm gonna get. But, you know, you're not just running around with that crazy imagination anymore, and now you're kind of to a point where you want to, at least for me, again, I use you as such a broad term, but at least for me, want to learn more about how to grow as a person where I am now. Yeah. And so reading things like the Percy Jackson series or like Clockwork or some shit like that, you know, fucking...
It's almost hard to care about.
It really is. It really is. Like, I start to read these stories and I'm like, this isn't even real. I'm not going to learn anything from this. This isn't applicable. This is just like an escape, you know?
Those kinds of stories, like, teach you, like, morals as a kid that, like, you should probably have by the time you're an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, yeah, of course Percy's going to fucking go save him right now because that's the right thing to do. And that's, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's, like, it's just not as applicable anymore. So... when I started getting back into reading, there was a part of me that was like, am I even going to enjoy this? Because I don't like picking up books anymore. But when I started reading about these things, I realized that every single person wants to be the best version of themselves. No matter who you are, everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. And no matter who you are, you want to grow and you want to learn and you want to progress. Even if you think, well, I'm chilling where I am. I'm just chilling where I am. There's some part of you that wants to do better in some aspect of your life. It's who we are as people. We are driven to constantly be improving and learning and growing. And so when I started reading these books, and it really called out to that part of me that said, you know you want to do better for yourself. You know you want to do these things. You constantly, everybody talks about, I need to go to the gym. I need to
get on that grind.
Yeah, you know, like, just wake up and get on that grind and stuff. And these books...
Improve yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. And these books that I'm reading talk about how to reach those goals, but how to do it in such an attainable way. Because when you think, well, I just need to be going to the gym. Well, guess what, buddy? You're not going to be going to the gym if you stayed up until 1 o'clock in the morning, woke up at fucking 7, and then busted out an 8-hour day. Like, you're going to be tired. You're not going to want to go.
Quit calling me out. Fuck.
But the fact is, everybody's getting called out right now. It's like, God damn, I feel attacked.
It's like, oh yeah, we're all the same age and going through the same shit.
Exactly. And that's another reason that I think this is going to be a really cool spin to take on this podcast, of having these conversations on how to improve yourself, because we're going to be going through it at the same time. You know, like, I right now personally feel like I am on this wild journey to just insane self-improvement. So back to finish what I was saying real quick. If you stay up super late and you think you're going to go to the gym next day, that's not going to happen. Yes, your goal is to go to the gym, but you need to improve the process on getting there. You need to go to bed early so that you can wake up, you can work your 8-hour workday, and then say, I still have enough energy to go to the gym. It's
using the same reference as the gym. If you go to the gym and your goal is to lose 30 pounds, you can't just go to the gym. You know what I mean? You got to know, like, oh, I got to start doing cardio and I got to start lifting weights. You got to have the little things figured out at the gym just to lose those 30 pounds. Exactly. So why would it be any different with getting to the gym? Oh, if you're not going to wake up on time, if you're not going to improve yourself, you're not going to wonder how, like, plan out your day.
Your diet, you're not going to have the energy while you're there, you know?
You gotta fix the little things to get to the main goal. If the main goal is the gym, there's always smaller things to get to the gym, and then you do the smaller things at the gym to lose the 30 pounds, so on and so forth.
One of the biggest things that I've noticed from reading these books, Atomic Habits has just been a huge one for me. That's the one I've been reading most frequently, is just... everything is such a blanket statement. I want to go to the gym. Okay, what do you have to do to get there? I want to have better relationships with my parents. Okay, well, where do you start with that? Do you start writing them every week? Do you start calling them every week? Do you start texting them every week? You have to start somewhere small rather than this huge blanket term of, like, I just want to have a better relationship, and expecting that one phone call is going to do that. And that's the other thing, too, is progress is not linear, and progress takes so much more time than... And that's the other thing, too, that people that are older than us didn't necessarily have to deal with as much, is we live in a world of instant gratification. Instant gratification. You want to buy something, you order it on Amazon, it's going to be there in 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
I remember when I was a kid, it's like I bought something and it was like 3 weeks. I'm like, holy shit, it's going to be here in like 2 weeks. Oh my God, it's not even that long.
That's not even that long of a wait.
Never would have been at Walmart. Oh,
And now it's like, if it takes longer than 2 days, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why is this taking so long to get to my house?
I ordered it on a Friday and it's not gonna get here till fucking Tuesday. What the fuck?
You're hungry, you drive up to the drive-thru, you have food in your lap in 3 minutes.
Yep.
Maximum. That's from the time you order to the time you pay to the time you fucking drive off. Like, it's instant. Everything is so fast. We have supermarkets that have, and grocery stores that have just about anything you could ever possibly imagine.
Pickup now. All you have to do is fucking order online, drive up to the thing, they put it in your fucking car for you.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to do, there's so many things in this life that are so easy for us, but make other aspects of life so fucking difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can name every single one of my friends, every single person I know around my age group that struggles with going to the gym, that struggles with maintaining good habits, that struggle with going to bed early, that just all of these things, because one, it's just part of who you've become, and two, improving yourself is so difficult in this world of just instant gratification that people work at things for, 3 or 4 days, don't see any results. Fuck it, I'm done. Like, I'm over it. It's just obviously not going to work,
I'm so guilty of that, too. Like, it's the same thing. And it's so hard to start these habits when the people around you also aren't doing that. Because when you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed at 10 tonight. And then your buddy's like, dude, I'm going to be up on Call of Duty. It's double XP weekend. Let's get on at 11, bro, and be off by 12. Fuck. Okay, okay. It's fine. I'll get 6 hours of sleep. Doesn't matter. It's fine. I'll be okay. You get up the next day and you're fucking groggy. You're like, oh shit, I was supposed to go fucking see my parents today, but I gotta take a nap and fucking. Like, yeah, you can't. I don't know.
So that's something that is also, it's very relevant in so many people's lives, and it's called this snowball effect. It's where you do one bad habit, you stay up just a little too late, and then everything for the next day on is just downhill from there. You're supposed to go see your parents, and instead you take a nap. You're supposed to do the dishes, but you slept through the time you're supposed to do the dishes. We were supposed to do this podcast on Monday, and my ass fell asleep.
Same. I totally forgot. I was like, now it's Wednesday, and we fucking actually made it. Holy shit, we actually made it.
We made it. We're here. There is this guy. His name is Ed Milet.
Okay.
His podcast, absolutely phenomenal. I just recently started listening to him. I've so far listened to like 3 of them, 4 or 5. But one of the ones we played when we were in the office the other day talks about how you are your environment. Okay. You are the people you surround yourself with. If you are surrounding yourself with people who are energy suckers and people who don't have the same goals and the same motivations, if you're surrounding yourself with people who have bad habits and are continuing to keep their bad habits, not only is it going to be harder for you to succeed and improve yourself, it's going to be... that's exactly what it is. Like, it's going to be so much harder to succeed and improve yourself. You can do it, but you're also less likely to do it at all. Because you come home and, I mean, Colin and I have talked about it before. That couch out in that living room, everybody's worst fucking enemy. It is impossible to get anything done if someone is sitting on that couch. Because we come home and we all just sit down and we all just talk with each other. We all just fucking smoke a bit, turn the TV on, play some video games. But we're all there together, and it's that pack mentality of always wanting to fit in and always wanting to be a part of the general populace. If everybody's sitting out there watching TV, what the fuck am I doing in here reading a book?
Yeah.
It's just, we as human beings are so conditioned to fit in and to meld in with the general population. And that's another reason, too, that I think that reading isn't heavily promoted. Again, you were saying socially, it's not
promoted at all. You can't, like, you can talk to your friends like, oh, that Netflix show, this thing, and you go binge it, and it's like, nobody's gonna be like, yo, I fucking read this book, dude, and it was so sick, you should go read it. And then we're like, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and read this book. It's not gonna fucking happen. It's
been so interesting because we're all going out to do sales this summer. That's what we're all doing. But since all of us have been reading these books and all of us have been on this same train of growth and education, we talk about the books that we read. We're like, where are you at? Like, where are you at in the book? What part have you gotten to now?
That's cool.
So it does become a social thing, and that's, again, goes with the people you surround yourself with are going to be who you are. Your environment is who you are.
Yeah.
If you're constantly in an environment that's lazy and laid back and doesn't ever do anything, that's who you're going to be as a person. But if you surround yourself with like-minded people that are wanting growth and wanting to improve, you've got to push towards that. You have to surround yourself with those people because your tribe is going to be the ones that you end up like.
It's fucking heavy, dude.
Yeah,
we're just going off.
We are going off, but it's just like, I don't know any 20-year-old any 20, 21, 22, like...
It's not struggling with exactly this.
That's not struggling with this level of self-improvement. And if you aren't struggling with this level of self-improvement at 20 years old, like, you are doing fucking fire. You have figured something out. Something has clicked in your brain. But the fact is I mean, most people that I know, like, that just hasn't clicked yet. I know so many people that are just kind of floating around in the abyss. Like, I don't even know what I want to do with my life right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I've personally been plateauing for like 4 years because I have no idea what the fuck I want to do.
And everybody has goals and aspirations, but it's always like, how do you fucking get there?
Exactly. Because
how?
If you don't have a goal for something, like, I'll be completely honest, I fucking have no idea what I want to do with my life. I don't have that shining light at the end of the tunnel driving me to get towards something, But the fact is even not having that shining light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what, this goes back to that basic instinct that human beings have to want to improve themselves. Yeah. So while your light at the end of the tunnel might not be college, it might not be some form of career, it might not be some huge direction in your life, that light at the end of the tunnel can be self-improvement so that when you find that light, you're ready. You're prepared, you're motivated.
Because imagine getting an opportunity, like, to go somewhere or do something, and you just aren't there.
Exactly.
You sat on the couch watching Family Guy for fucking 2 years, and all of a sudden all your friends are going off to fucking Spain because they put in the time and energy to save up and do the things, and you're fucking stuck there.
Exactly. I feel like I plateaued for fucking 4 years, and I didn't even realize until now that all I needed to do was pick up a fucking book. Like,
I was actually, okay, so my ex-girlfriend left off to Spain, and when she was gone, I was like, I know I need to improve myself. I need to go to the gym. I need to do all these things. And I just didn't do anything. I sat on my fucking ass for a week and just, like, sat in sorrow and fucking didn't know what to do. I literally bought that book from Adam Savage. He fucking motivated me so much, and, like, I started doing things in school, in class, and doing all this other stuff, and it just took one book. And imagine if I just picked up more books or did more little things, tiny things. It was no effort to listen to that book while I was at work. Zero effort. I could be listening to music. I could be doing something else. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is, again, to backtrack to what we talked about earlier about how it takes effort to sit down and read a book. It pulls you away from your social settings. If you work in a job where you can put a headphone in, it is so easy to listen to audiobooks. It is so easy. And there's... you're getting the same exact amount of knowledge. You're literally getting the book just in your ears instead of your eyes, you know?
And even if you think, oh, I won't remember it, if I don't read it, like, I'm bad at listening, dude, you're going to pick up something.
Yeah, exactly.
If something resonates with you, you're going to take away from that. You can, Adam Savage went off for fucking an hour, not even an hour, but like half an hour about glue. About different kinds of glue, and I just kind of zoned out. I'm like, okay, I'm listening to him do it. And then he works, and all of a sudden he's just like, and you need to wake up at 8 a.m. and you need to do this thing. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's the shit I need.
I'm ready.
So.
Yeah, and you're gonna pick up anything you listen to. You're gonna pick up little bits here and there. There's gonna be something that's gonna spark your interest. You're gonna kind of slow down on what you're focusing on and just kind of listen for a second, and you're gonna pick that up and you're gonna remember that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too is, like, it's not like you're expected to remember everything. You're expected to pick up the key points that are applicable to you that you know are gonna be beneficial. Mm-hmm. You know, and one of the other things too that going into these big changes that you're trying to make in your life, it's overpowering the mind before you can overpower any of your tasks. Mm-hmm. You have to overpower that part of you there. So there's this book called Outwitting the Devil. I can't remember who it's by off the top of my head right now, but it's called Outwitting the Devil. And from what I understand, I haven't read it yet, but from what I understand, it takes this part of you that says, just stay up a little later. Just stay up a little later, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, eat that extra piece of candy. Like, it's fine. The inner
conscience of,
exactly.
laziness.
And that is the devil. And they kind of give those negative parts of yourself, this persona of the devil, this little devil sitting on your shoulder. Exactly. And it teaches you how to separate the part of yourself that wants to be your best self and this other part of yourself that is complacency. That is, if you do that, you'll be fine. It's fine. It's okay. Just stay in another
Stop
night.
talking. Stop. Get out of my head.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It really is kind of like that. And it teaches you how to separate those as almost two different people. Like, this is not the version of myself I want to be. This little complacency devil sitting on my shoulder is not who I want to be. I don't want to be the person that stays up late anymore. I want to be the person that wakes up early, that goes out into my living room, leaves my place of comfort and sleep, goes out into my living room, meditates, makes a good breakfast, and puts my day off on a good start.
Some people just need to hear that, though, because when I read the book by Adam Savage, and we keep talking about this because it's like right off the top of my head, but he just said that, like, no matter what you're doing, you're not going to want to do it at some points. You just get through those and you'll get to the part you want to be doing. And so I was like spray painting my tires or something, and you have to clean before you spray paint. The tires were nasty. I was scrubbing. I fucking hated it. But I really wanted to quit. I really wanted to stop when I was like, I had a little wire brush and I was just scrubbing away, and it was really fucking ass. My hands hurt. It was cold. And I just thought to myself, why do I want to stop right now? Because I want my tires painted. That's all I want. Just because there's a little tiny part of it that sucks, I'm going to go spray paint them and they're going to look sick as fuck in a little bit. I just have to get through this. And you just keep going.
Make it through.
As long as, now that you know and you've heard that there's that thing in your head that's going to say that, the next time it happens, you can hear it and you can realize, okay, ignore that for a minute and you'll be good.
It's easier to be consciously aware of it, because once you hear that it's there, and especially when it's fresh in your memory, you know, like tomorrow you're going to wake up, you're going to go to do something that you don't want to do. Nobody wants to wake up early. Yeah. You're going to hear that first alarm go off, and even if you snooze it, you have already taken one step farther by telling yourself at least, I really probably shouldn't do this, and genuinely feeling it and being like, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to do it. I still snooze my alarm every fucking day. Every fucking morning. But guess what? Because I've been thinking about these things while I've been snoozing my alarm, I've been hustling my ass a little bit more in the mornings, and I'm closer to on time to work. Still getting there to being on time, but I'm on time more often than I was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is I post something every single day on my Snapchat that's just like a little motivation.
Those fucking motivate me every day, by the way. I haven't said anything, but I see that shit and I'm like, fucking yes.
Yes, gonna grind time. And it's always great to see motivation from people that you know, especially when you know those people struggle with motivation, because I fucking, oh my god, I hate it. Life is ass. I'm so tired. But the fact is today, one of the things that I posted, it's really been resonating with me over the last couple of days, is support yourself. Support yourself. We spend so much time saying, I need to go to the gym. Yeah. I need to eat better. I need to wake up early. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing this. And just being so hard on ourselves that when we have these little victories, when we have these little moments of, I was on time this morning, or I got up on time, or I went to the gym today, or just even those little tiny things, even just by improving one single part of your day, you are already that much better off than you were the day before. Because
if you focus on that one part just for a couple weeks, well, I read something somewhere, don't quote me on this, but it only takes 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, I'd say just a month to be safe, of doing something kind of repetitively to it becoming a habit.
To starting to build
a habit. And if you just focus on one thing for a couple weeks, it's just going to be something you do. And then you can focus on another thing. Just do one little fucking thing.
So, there is this part in Atomic Habits that talks about a British cycling team. They were the fucking worst. They were absolutely horrible. So bad, in fact, that bike shops in Britain did not want to sell to their own cycling team because they didn't want to be associated with them.
Oh my god.
Because they would think that professionals would see that and say, well, their bikes must not be that good if the Brits are using them.
Oh shit.
And so they had this coach come in, whose name I can't remember. They had this coach come in and coach this team over the next couple years, and their whole philosophy was to improve 1% on every single thing they did. So they changed the tires that they used to find the ones that had the best traction and could spin the fastest or something. Yeah. They changed what they wore. They changed their helmets that they used. They changed their diets. They changed the time of day that they worked out to find out which was most effective. And by the end of this, they were winning Olympic medals. They were winning Tour de France.
Jesus, man.
Just by improving 1% in every single aspect. Because if you take the entire whole of something and you improve 37 parts of it, or 37 pieces, you are now 37% better than you were before.
Damn, that's true.
So that's the concept of, supporting yourself and saying, I have picked this small habit, and I know once I get the hang of this, it is going to snowball, but in a good way. Rather than staying up late and it snowballing your whole next day and just fucking your whole day up, going to bed early is going to snowball into waking up earlier. You have more time to make breakfast. You now have more time throughout your day to get all your stuff done. And so if you repeatedly just focus on that habit, in turn, other habits are going to start to follow. Again, waking up early. Now that I've woken up early, I can start to build the habit of meditation. Okay. And then once you start to build the habit of meditation, you now feel clearer and you feel more alert and you feel more aware in your life, and your happiness becomes greater. And Happiness Advantage talks all about how success doesn't bring happiness. We spend so much time saying once I reach this goal, then I'll be happy. But the whole concept of happiness advantage is that happiness actually breeds success. So if you can find ways to be happy in your life and improve in those little ways, success will follow.
I need a list of these fucking books.
Oh, I have a list of them. I'll send them to you.
I actually need that.
We can put some in the comments down below so other people can listen to them
and
read them as well.
I will put them all down there.
They're so good. They're so good. But yeah, it's just people focus so much, again, we talked about this earlier, kind of repetitive, but those blanket topics, but just improving those little bits and supporting yourself through those improvements rather than beating on yourself for the things that you haven't done. Start to notice the changes you are making. Start to notice the little bits that are improving your life, and when you start focusing on those, you're going to be happier, just in the long run anyways.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
You give me a lot to think about. I'm gonna go home and like rework my entire life now.
It's pretty crazy. Like I said, I plateaued for 4 years and all I had to do was pick up a fucking book, and now all of a sudden I feel like my life is just taking off because I feel like my mentality just in the last couple weeks of reading these books and also being around people that are, again, a huge thing is your environment. Being around people that support these habits and support these healthy lifestyles, fucking mind-boggling. Life-changing already. Like, I am in such a different headspace than I have been in the last couple months just because of all of this knowledge that I've been gaining. Just to bring a conspiracy into it, the government doesn't support reading and doesn't promote it on social media because if you read, you'd be smarter.
Oh, shit, dude. Okay, here's something that I don't understand. So I was thinking about medical marijuana or like recreational marijuana. And what's so funny about it is that there's all these conspiracy theories about the government suppressing people and the government doing things that are not in the interest of the people to keep themselves wealthy. Marijuana mostly makes people kind of lazy, which is fine. Like, it's like, I mean, it's just fun. But you'd think that they'd want to legalize it to kind of like suppress the masses because like people like are kind of angry that it's not legalized. And if they just legalized it, it would actually just mellow everyone out about a lot of things.
Honestly would.
And they kind of would probably forget about some certain political stuff that was happening just because they were smoking weed and they didn't really give a fuck about it at that moment.
They weren't really paying attention.
Yeah, but that's what I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, they should just, in their own fucking interest. I don't see with a lot of like acts and bills that gets passed, it's like, oh, there's some good things, and then all of a sudden you have to read the fine print and you're like, oh, this person's benefiting this way and this person's. I don't understand any downside in any situation, whether it be for the government or for the people, that marijuana is not legalized.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's literally just stupid ass old people that have gotten the fact that marijuana is bad pushed into their brains, and they just will not let it go.
No, they just won't let it go.
That's what's so funny.
They've just decided, they're like, this is what we were taught, which means this is what's right. And it's like...
And we're fucking shoveling mounds of evidence of it being not bad.
Oh my god,
it's
dude.
like
left and right. We're shoveling mounds of evidence everywhere right now for every single fucking thing.
Like,
when you think about it...
60 years ago when I read it in my fucking textbook, the colon was actually like really... Like the appendix is really fucking important.
It's really fucking important.
I think it like creates gold in your body or something. I was like medically like correct in the 60s, so it's gotta be right.
It's gotta be still true.
I'm going to set a goal for myself because we're supposed to do this every week. So by next Monday, my goal is by next Monday to have gone to bed at 10:30 because that's 8 hours before I have to wake up, and I never fucking do it. So that's just one thing I'm going to promise to change, and doing it on here is going to keep me like accountable or whatever. And that's something that I encourage everybody listening, whoever is listening at this point, to try and do, and to try and change one thing. If you already wake up at a certain time, you can think of something right now that you want to improve on, whether it's getting to the gym, whether it's talking to your parents. Just
whether
choose
hitting
one
an alarm,
little thing.
one less
Don't
time.
even fucking worry about, oh yeah, you might want to go to the gym. Don't fucking worry about it right now. Do one thing by next week.
Just one small thing that you know, that you've known for a while. And again, small thing. Like, again, fuck going to the gym.
Yeah.
Fuck going to the gym. Don't worry about that shit. Choose one small thing. Maybe it's you have to fold your laundry after you take it out of the dryer.
Immediately after. I
Exactly,
let it sit on my bed for like 4 hours and I just don't care. But
yeah, exactly. But like doing your laundry right when it gets out of the dryer. Doing your laundry before it overflows. Brushing your teeth in the morning or like both at night. I wasn't gonna
brush
say
your teeth both
night.
times, motherfucker. Come on.
I don't fucking
what do you
brush
fucking
my
do?
teeth both
Oral
times.
Neither do I, but like fucking you should do it, okay? Be
better.
Be better than me, okay?
But making your bed in the morning too, like you don't realize how big an impact coming home to a clean environment has.
Oh god, it's so good.
Oh my god, if you're messy, if you constantly have this habit of leaving dishes out, leaving trash out from the night before, obviously haven't been implementing it right here.
Yeah, we're in her room and it's like it's a little messy, but it's okay.
Well, once our makeshift table moves back, that's all just storage.
Yeah,
just sitting out. You know,
just cover it up.
Exactly.
If it looks clean, it is clean. Okay?
Exactly. You know, like this. Bedrooms don't work like the mind, you know? Like, don't just fucking closet stuff in your head. But if you got a couple t-shirts, you don't know what to fucking do with them, shove that bitch under the bed. Nobody's gonna fucking know.
Nobody fucking knows.
Nobody's gonna fucking
Until
know.
you move the giant table and I can see everything that you shoved under there, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's like... Yeah. There's more than I thought.
That's why I have a long blanket. I have like a low bed, but there's enough space under there for things to go. And then I was like, I don't want to see under there, so I have like a long blanket over the sides. It's like, it doesn't exist anymore.
Maybe that's a habit that some people need to change. Maybe I need to pull my shit out from under my bed. But anyways,
choose a thing. Just choose a fucking thing.
Exactly. What I was going into is like, if you're messy, you know, implement little rules that kind of help yourself break those habits. Like, we have this general rule that if there's trash out there, it needs to not last more than one night. Like, if you fucking go out and you go get some McDonald's at fucking 10 p.m. and you leave your bag there overnight, I don't fucking give a shit. But by the next day, shit better be thrown away. Better be thrown away. If you think about how... We were talking about this the other day. I was talking to Lauren Kinsey. Anyways, we were talking at work a couple days ago about how... She's like, I'm going to love to see what it's going to be like when our generation is the teachers of the future generations. You know, we're going to be sitting there and going to be like, no, you have to put the hologram up. You have to click this button to project the hologram for the lesson, teacher.
Timmy, you still trust in the government? You're so funny. Oh, God, look at this history book. You see how this guy got elected? This guy's Trump. You weren't alive yet, but fuck, man.
But fuck, man, that shit was
This
ridiculous.
when everyone realized shit was not good.
she was getting to the point at, like, you know, if you... think back to our high school experience, you know, we had those fucking smart whiteboards that were just brand fucking new. Like, that shit had just come out.
We were the future, bro.
Oh my God. And like teacher and fucking ceiling projectors instead of those big boxy ones that you put the fucking
overhead projectors.
Yeah, overhead projectors, you know? So like when we got those smart boards and those over the ceiling projectors, I mean, how many fucking teachers did you have to be like, no, push this.
Every fucking
you had to walk them through it. And she was saying, you know, when we advance several years into the future and we are now the next generation's teachers, is that technology going to be so advanced that they're going to be teaching us how to use it? My argument against that is absolutely not.
I don't think so either.
Absolutely
just thinking about that.
And this is why I think that the government also is still so fucking stuck in the Stone Age, is because if you look at the people born between like 1996, you know, the typical like millennial age, and like towards the end of our generation, we went through this huge transition where cell phones were not a fucking thing when we were young. Yeah. When we were kids, we still lived in a time where cell phones were not a thing. We lived in a time where the internet was fucking brand new. Yeah. Brand fucking new. And if you look at younger generations, like they're just born into this shit. Like every single child born now is going to know what a smartphone is. They're going to know what the internet is. They're going to know what a laptop is. Like, all of this shit that we didn't have access to. So we had to go through this huge transformative period of learning just at such a fast rate. We were learning how to use cell phones, and then we were learning how to use the computer. We were learning how to use the internet. We were learning how to use all of this shit all at once. Social media, emails, like...
And now that we can't... Parents can live without Snapchat, can live without like texting and calling, all this other shit. We cannot live without that kind of stuff.
It is literally a part of our lives. I know people that I'm almost one of them, not entirely one of them, but almost one of them that communicates almost exclusively through Snapchat. Like, it's just my form of communication that I prefer to use. And as we get farther and farther into this, you know, that technological reliance is going to become so much heavier. But I think that's another reason why the government is still so stuck in the Stone Age, is because when they were growing up and when they were, you know, some of them first coming into office and stuff, they never had to go through that period of rapid education. True. Just rapid fucking things new things being thrown at you left and fucking right. The things they
learned in college were still applicable when they like got out.
Exactly.
Because there's things I learned in my first year of college that are just kind of different now, even now.
And so it's like the fact that the world views and just the world itself is changing so quickly for them, they're like, nah, fuck this, like, this is how it is. This is how it is. And we're like, no, it's changed. It's changed the same way the technology fucking changed. It's all different now. And they're like, no, it's not. It's all the same. And we're all just sitting here ripping our fucking hair out because we're like, it's different. Yeah. It's fucking different.
And they don't understand. And that's what's great about, like, people think that I think it might be impossible the reformation of the government and the way it is structured is a necessity for the way that life is now.
And honestly, I think it will take until younger representatives are in office.
Yep.
The issue is because everybody's old as shit.
Yep.
Like that's the biggest fucking issue. Is like there just needs to be a full flush. Again, which one is it that doesn't have term limits? Is it the Senate?
The Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court doesn't have term limits.
I don't know about the Senate. They have to get revoted in, but the Supreme Court, they are in there for life. When the president chooses a Supreme Court person, they do not leave until they decide to leave or they fucking die.
Yeah, it's like...
And they are the ultimate law. And when those people are fucking 70 years old, quite literally, and they're fucking asked about, there's a terrorist where his phone was in the scene of the crime and we can figure stuff out from the phone, but it has an encrypted password. And Apple is being told that they need to unlock it, but because of did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so there was I don't know if they were terrorists or if they were assumed to be and figured out that they were, but they both had iPhones that were encrypted. So when you put in the password 10 times, it will erase everything off of it.
Yeah.
So they went to the government and the government was like, Apple, open this phone up so we can get stuff off of it, and they refused because that's encryption. They can't do anything about it, and if they make a back door, it jeopardizes their entire system and their encryption in itself. And so the government was trying to sue them and say that they have to for private security, and when the Supreme Court is they're asked about this shit, they're like, fuck, I don't even know how to fucking unlock my phone if it has a password, bro.
No, literally, they have no idea what
when
the fuck is going on.
When they don't know that kind of shit, how are they supposed to make decisions based on the good of the people?
And how are they supposed to make laws based off of it, too?
Yeah, and they're supposed to make decisions based on the good of the people when they don't understand how things work. It doesn't make any sense.
They don't understand what life is like for the people anymore.
Nope.
When
there's 300 million fucking people in this fucking country, how are you supposed to make a decision in the fucking White House that's supposed to be good for everybody? Or that's supposed to be beneficial for people in certain situations?
And, obviously, not everything is going to benefit everyone. That's a fucking... Mm-hmm. That's a fucking fact. But you can do things that... What's the benefit? I lost the word there. God.
Things for people.
Good things for humans. But you can do things that benefit the mass population. You can do things that benefit the largest demographic of people. Rich people are thriving in our country right now. Yep. I read something the other day that said this is the first time in hundreds of years that the top 400 wealthiest families have paid less in taxes than the working middle class. Mm-hmm. They paid 23% in taxes while the working middle class paid 24%. The 400 wealthiest families in the country.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's everything in the government right now, and I really hope that people's eyes are just opening about this, that everything in the government now...
They can't not be opening.
They really can't. Some people just are so willingly ignorant.
True.
So willingly ignorant. But everything in the government right now is to profit for the rich. Everything is for the rich top dogs to stay the rich top dogs while everybody else fucking grinds and is doing the work. That's what
I went on a giant tirade to somebody on Snapchat because I was a little bit drunk and they asked me some certain political question. And I was like, oh my God. The working middle class and lower class are literally just slaves to the people that are making the money right now. Mm-hmm. In government, I remember I was told the facts about how long, I can bring this up next time and correct myself, but for U.S. For state senators, I went to the Capitol building in Utah, and they only work a couple months out of the year, and they get a yearly salary for the entire year when they only work for a couple of months, and it's around $72,000.
Dear God.
Which is ridiculously good for the average person.
And especially when you work for
3 fucking months, making a couple of decisions in a fucking big room.
The only other way that you can do that is fucking what I'm about to be doing, is fucking knocking some doors.
Prostituting yourself.
Probably.
I mean, wait. That's what I'm doing.
But fucking summer sales and shit like that. That's the only way, and you have to be good at it too.
Yeah.
You have to be fucking good at it, and that's the only way that is by doing these outlandish, absurd jobs. But if you just look at the average working person, they're supporting the entire fucking the whole economy.
Why am I paying taxes so that the government can make 15 more $50 million Tomahawk missiles to shoot at some random country and kill their fucking innocent civilians?
I literally
That's where my
don't
taxes
even
are going.
Give a
really?
shit about
my taxes are really going to the military, where they're literally just slaughtering innocent people overseas, and things are why is so much money going to things that don't actually support us? Why is so much money being wasted trying to impeach Trump when it doesn't fucking matter?
Well, because the fact is like, I can agree with this. Like, while I really fucking wish Trump would be impeached, like, while I absolutely wish that's exactly what would happen, we all knew the outcome.
Yep.
Every single person before it happened knew the outcome. We were like, it will absolutely not work.
So much time and money got spent trying to do that to that man, and it didn't come out with shit. And you know where that money came from? The taxpayers. You know who paid 23%? The top 400 fucking families. You know who fucking pretty much paid for it? The fucking working class. 299.999.999 million fucking Americans.
And I believe the shit too that, like, nobody needs to have as much money as fucking Kylie Jenner.
True.
You know, like, sorry to call her out, but I mean, the fact is, I think she doesn't even know what's in her own fucking makeup. I've heard so many people say, do not ever fucking use Kylie Cosmetics. They're horrible for you.
Oh my god.
You know, like, I wonder how involved she even really is with that shit, but, like, that family has so much fucking money.
Yep.
That
it's just going into fucking nothing, too.
Exactly. It's just, like, nobody, but, like, the fact is, it's just nobody needs to have that much money. Like, nobody needs to be sitting around with fucking billions and billions of fucking dollars. Like, at least Bill Gates is investing it into charities and shit, you know?
He's a fucking... he has some, like, fucked up shit in his past, but I honestly think he's the best rich person I've ever seen. Yeah,
like, it's just hordes and hordes of money that aren't going back into the economy. Also, I heard, and again, I fucking don't quote me on this, I don't know if it's fucking fact or not, but I heard that a lot of wealthy people become wealthy off of the stocks. And that money is not taxed very well. The stocks. The fucking stock market. But I heard that, like, that's where a lot of people get a lot of their just fucking
investing
in
passive
income.
Yeah.
And it's just not taxed very well. So people become wealthy off of the stock market, and they just have all this fucking, like, not taxed money. Like, it's obviously taxed, but they can just build a fucking stockpile with that shit.
Yep. And that's another thing. People just don't understand how a lot of this shit works. Me and you included. Like, we just, like, it's the stocks. Like, we don't, like, but just because we don't, we live in a country where trillions of dollars can be spent on a fucking, billions, I mean, can be spent on a border wall for fucking what? You're not getting to the main point of the issue. You're trying to keep these people out. Why are they trying to get in the first place? Oh, because their country's a fucking shithole right now. Not to be, like, bad against Mexico, but it's kind of a shithole. Yeah. You know about their fucking highways? They're not owned by the government, by the way. The highways are privately owned and tolled, where you pay 50 pesos to get on the highway to get to work. And then sometimes they just get taken over by the cartel, and they just fucking kind of take all your money when you're on the highway. And the government's like, we don't know the fucking highways. They can't fucking do anything about it. And they're shit.
You're the fucking government. Figure it out.
Yeah. So, and they're trying to get over here because we have better opportunities and better things. And
the fact is too, like, if you really looked at what they do when they come over, if you were to just immediately fucking Thanos snap your fingers and remove every single illegal immigrant from the U.S.,
our country would collapse.
It would absolutely fucking fall to pieces. Who builds all the fucking apartment complexes that you need to fucking live in?
Who helps the farmers out? Who actually does that kind of work?
Yeah, exactly. Who's actually farming?
We're not doing it.
No, it's not fucking John Smith from down the street. That's sure as hell. Like, honest to God, and, like, our fucking plumbing, all these luxuries that we have are built off of fucking immigrants. And for anybody to think that there are these horrible people that are coming into this country and fucking, quote unquote, destroying it, they are doing all the fucking jobs that you don't want to do. So be grateful for your running toilet, asshole. Yeah. Like, God. That shit's fucking ridiculous.
And the bad things that people, like, assume, they're like, oh, the drugs, the cartels. Do you know why they're making so much money? It's because these drugs are still illegal. And I'm not saying that heroin's good. I'm not, God, every time I try and bring this up, I'm not saying heroin's good, okay? I'm saying that the reason it has such a high demand and it is done by the cartels is because it's illegal. If we had sites like the safe, like, what do they call them? The, like, safe places to do drugs, like the...
I have no idea.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Rave.
No. No, okay, so in England and some other places, I've
heard of them.
These clinics where you can go in and they give you clean needles. They give you the things you need to not fucking overdose and get AIDS from these, like, old rusty needles and shit. But the reason that they're profiting and then there's a demand and a supply for these people is because it's illegal and people here can't do it. if it was legal, I don't think it would incentivize anyone to do heroin, because we all know what heroin does to you.
Well,
The people that are going to do heroin are going to do heroin, okay? They're going to get it from where they're going to get it. And if it's from people in the US making it, we're making alcohol already. That's fucking up your body. We're making fucking Oxycontin. We're making all these things that are just as bad.
You can literally overdose on fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
You can it's called fucking alcohol poisoning. That shit will kill you.
Oh, where's your moral? Like, people are like, where's your moral compass? If you're making heroin, you're giving it to the people and you're trying to destroy their lives. The pharmacy companies are already fucking doing that. Why aren't you fucking angry at them? Why aren't you angry at these alcohol companies? Because it's bad for your body.
You're just angry because it's illegal and it's being sold on the streets.
Yeah.
And the fact is, too, is if there was a safe place for people to consume these things, again, they're going to do it because they're going to fucking do it. But the fact is your death rate is going to go down because people aren't fucking overdosing on shit that they don't know what it is. And you are going in the long run, you are going to be protecting more people than you are going to be hurting by having these things safe and accessible.
Yep. One thing that like is ridiculous is people will die from overdoses when they can get help, because these things are illegal, and they know if like, oh, if I call an ambulance, like when my buddy over here is overdosing on heroin, I'm gonna get charged with the shit I have. So one thing Andrew Yang was talking about is still cracking down on the suppliers and the dealers, but the people who have like the limited quantities, or they're like users, are never arrested and they're never penalized. It is legal to own the drug, such as like heroin or other things. He's trying, like, one of his philosophies is to make it legal to own it so that people don't get arrested or not like be able to get the help that they need when things are going bad, which makes so much sense. I understand if the government doesn't want to fucking legalize the entire drug, okay? There's a lot of negative stigma to that, but the people that are using it, what are they doing wrong? The reason they turn to crime sometimes is because they don't have the resources to get what they need. To get help with
whether it's therapy, whether it's like medication that they need and they can't get. Like, the fact is that in America there are so many people in poverty and just living shitty ass lives that feel the need to turn to substances, you know, to make their lives better, to feel better, whatever that is, because they don't have the money to go see a therapist and say, I feel like my life's a wreck. I feel like I am so low down right now, like, you know, or I feel like I have friends that are pressuring me, or I'm just not happy, or things like that. That's why people turn to drugs. There's this quote that says, weed isn't a gateway drug. Abuse is a gateway drug. Neglect, depression, you know, no access to mental health resources and stuff like this. So these people turn to these substances to feel some way that they're not able to feel on their own. So the fact is they don't need the one thing that's helping them to be illegal. They need resources, and they need access to the things that they need, and they need access to things like better public health services and better mental health services, you know, and like
when you want to not be addicted to heroin anymore, the one thing that people can do is go to a fucking rehab center. But guess what? People are doing heroin, can't afford a fucking $40,000 rehab facility.
Exactly.
What are they going to do? Oh, they're sad and they're depressed and they want to stop heroin. You know what's going to kind of help that? More heroin. Because that's the only way they know how to feel better.
It's the only way they can afford to feel better. And then when they start doing that, you know, obviously a dependency develops. And then after that, you have even less money because you're now dependent on a substance, and everything you have is going towards that substance. So again, why not just give people the resources to fucking get better? Like,
so we can spend $1 trillion on the fucking army, but we can't spend a couple $1 billion to make these safe centers for people to help them get better?
It's fucking ridiculous because there is so little weight put on things like mental, and we talked about this in the last episode too, there's so little weight put on things like mental health and mental wellness, and, you know, the government just wants to spend money on being bigger and being better, but I don't understand what this hatred is towards, you know, fucking universal health care. You know, like, that is something that I would absolutely put my tax money towards. Yep. I would way rather pay for people to get better and people to be on their feet and actually, like, because the fact is when you make the population better, your government is going to thrive so much more because people are going to feel good enough to go to work. People are going to feel good enough to contribute. People are going to be healthy enough to contribute to your fucking society. You know, you want the society where people are just constantly going, you go to work, you come home, you go to bed. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you go to bed. You know, you want these cogs in the machine to work, but you're not oiling them. You're not helping the machine to work. Like, it's gonna get fucking rusted up. gears are gonna crack and it's gonna start to fucking fall apart, and we are going to have an entire governmental collapse. I swear to God.
People always talk about investing in yourself, and that's like exactly what we were talking about at the beginning. You need to invest in yourself to do better things. The government, for some reason, it doesn't feel like an investing in itself. You know who itself is? Us, the fucking normal people. It's like, oh, I want to spend $1 trillion. Oh, we need to get another $1 trillion in the military.
That's
for
literally
some fucking reason. But you know, it won't invest in the people that are making it run. We still have people like homeless people and poverty and fucking all this shit, and they can fix that. They can do more shit to try and fix that instead of all this stupid ass shit that they're trying to do.
Well, and it's like if you bring it down to a smaller scale, because like you said, self-improvement, like focus on yourself, work on yourself, improve yourself. The government doesn't want to focus on itself and improve itself. It's worried about other governments and other countries. But the fact is like if you come home and you just got paid, invest in yourself. Go buy a book. Go buy some vegetables and some fruits and fuel your body with the things that are going to be good for it, rather than saying, oh, I just got paid, I'm going to go buy a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to be the big and shiny, you know?
Because you know what? Once you invest in yourself with the books and the vegetables, you're going to know what to do to be better, and then affording a 55-inch TV is going to be a lot easier anyway.
Exactly, because you're going to be again, that small scale, those small habits that you need to build. Once you start eating better and exercising and doing all these little things for yourself, you're going to be more successful. So in turn, if the government would focus on the little things and making it easy for its citizens to be healthy, and making it easy for its citizens to be educated and to have good mental health, in turn is going to bring success for them, because now their citizens feel like their government actually gives a shit and want to work together. They want to be successful together. Yep. You know, but if you're just constantly focusing on that fucking 55-inch TV, multi-billion-dollar military, it's not gonna fucking go anywhere.
That was a perfect wraparound to the beginning, but we're at an hour, which is nuts.
Wow.
Right?
That was easier than the first time.
Yeah, the first time it was like, we were like 35 minutes in, we're like, holy fuck, it's only been 30 minutes.
Like, what do we even talk about?
But we can pick up that same kind of thing, because there's way more to talk about with that.
Yeah.
Next week. But remember, I'm going to try to go to bed on time at 10:30 and come back with my results or like whatever on my philosophy on that next week. What's something you feel like trying for this week?
I need to not snooze my alarm more than twice.
More than twice. And
starting
perfect.
Tomorrow, I can't snooze
and that's just
that
a
shit
tiny
more than
little
twice.
thing. It's just a tiny little thing that's easy to try and fix if you're just focusing on that
too.
one tiny little thing. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. If you got it this far, holy fucking shit, you're a champ.
Proud
thanks for
of you.
supporting us. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're still here. That's all we have right now. But
thanks for supporting us so that we can support you.
Next episode should be out. This one should be out on the Monday of... Well, it doesn't matter. You're listening to it. You don't need to know when it's out. But we're going to try and record every Monday, and it should be out by the following Tuesday. So look for Tuesdays on this channel.
Should we just post this one on Thursday and then we can jump back into the Monday, Tuesday?
True.
This will be like a late one or something.
Yeah, so this will be like, you'll hear this when you fucking hear this, but just look for Tuesdays, okay? It's going to be fucking Tuesdays.
From now on, look for fucking Tuesdays.
Look for your fucking Tuesdays, all right?
We'll have the book list in the comments down below so you guys can be enriched in the same way that we are.
Yeah, if anybody's listening to this and has like a book, you're like, oh my god, these guys need to read this book because like it's exactly what they're talking about or it's inspired you, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Even if you're listening to this and we've been doing this podcast for a year, tweet us or something or like your fucking books. Let us know how shit is going. But yeah.
That's it.
Sick.
98 perspective.
98 perspective. Oh.